Get down the side. Over there. Good. Hi folks, how are you? I haven't had quite as large a gathering of this in quite some time. I was elected by the Australian people as Prime Minister of this country to bring back a fair go for all Australians. And I have given my absolute best to do that. I've given it my absolute all. And in that spirit, I'm proud of the achievements that we have delivered to make this country fairer. I'm proud of the fact that we kept Australia out of the global economic recession. I'm proud of the fact that had we not done so, we would have had 500,000 Australians out there out of work, because that's what happened around the rest of the world. I'm proud of the fact that we got rid of work choices and restored decency to the workplace. I'm proud of the fact that we started to build the nation's infrastructure, including a national broadband network which I fundamentally believe will transform this economy in ways which we have yet to conceive. Fundamentally transform our businesses in the way in which governments operate, health services are delivered, and the way in which education is delivered in our classrooms. The missing piece of 21st century kit for our country. I'm proud of the fact that we have begun the education revolution. 300,000 extra computers in classrooms. That's a pretty big thing for a kid in a classroom who's never seen a computer on their desk before. I'm proud of the fact that we now have trades training centres built to service every one of our nation's secondary schools. I'm proud of the fact that new libraries are springing up right across the country, often in schools which have never had a library before in their lives, or in some places have never had a new building built in their schools since the war. I'm proud of the fact that we now have nationwide early childhood education. I'm proud of the fact that we now have a national curriculum for our schools, for every state of our nation and the territories. I'm proud of the fact that we now have 50,000 more university places, and the fact that we've had invested so much more in our universities, in our research. I'm really proud of the fact that we've reformed the health system, a national health and hospitals network. When we look back on this in a decade's time, and the fact that we've made the Australian government, for the first time in our history, the dominant funder of our nation's public hospital system, this will be seen as a very, very deep reform. I'm proud of the fact that we are building 20 regional cancer centres right across our country. You know, if you go out there and people are suffering from cancer, it does alter your priorities. Many of those folk have never had decent cancer services before. Never. And I was always stunned by the fact that people out there are 3 times more likely to die in the first years of their diagnosis through the lack of services. Now, we've done something to change that. And it's big. The biggest investment in cancer services our nation has ever seen. I'm proud of the fact, and some people have probably never heard of this one, that we have a National Organ Transplant Authority. As somebody who borrowed someone else's aortic valve, I feel a particular responsibility for that. It's nothing like having a bit of somebody else in you. It focuses the mind, and in my case also focuses the heart. What I'm really pleased about in the last 2 months, the organ donation rate has for the first time started to rise. People now getting transplants because we chose to make a difference. Funny thing about health, isn't it? It has an effect on you. I'm proud of the fact that we've restored decency to the age pension. This is pretty important. Making sure that people on the age pension had some capacity for human dignity. An extra $100, the biggest increase in the pension's history. I'm proud of the fact that we now have paid parental leave. It's been a long time coming. I'm proud of what we've done on homelessness. I'm proud of the fact that we're on track to halve homelessness in this country through work like Common Ground, in which Therese is directly involved. I'm proud of the fact that we're adding 20,000 additional units of social housing. I can't stand it when you go to places and there is literally no place at the inn. I'm proud of the fact that the first thing we did in government was ratify the Kyoto Protocol. Also proud of the fact that we boosted the renewable energy target to 20%. I'm proud of the fact that we tried 3 times to get an emissions trading scheme through this Parliament, although we failed. And if I had one point of future policy, it must be our ambition to pass a carbon pollution reduction scheme within this Parliament, the one that follows, I mean, so that we can make a difference, a real difference to climate change. I'm proud of the fact that we now have, for the first time in the country's history, a Murray-Darling Basin Authority. And for the first time in our history, a basin-wide plan and a basin-wide cap on water. Also proud of the fact that on the global stage, Australia is now at the table of the G20. This is big for the country. When we look back on that in 10 years' time, having a place at the table when stuff goes wrong around the world is pretty useful. We lobbied hard and long for that. It is a good achievement for Australia for the future. I'm proud of the fact that we are closing the gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. Little things and big things. Putting hundreds of Indigenous kids with scholarships into our nation's leading boarding schools. Backing such things as the Clontarf Academy, now 22 of them we fund around the nation, to get kids to school and boost their attendance by providing AFL training. Proud of the fact that we're behind a commitment to create 50,000 additional jobs for Indigenous Australians with the private sector. And I'm most proud of the fact that about here we greeted the stolen generations.